Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another video for another review of another Tapped Out update. This one is of the new Holidays of Future Past update, which is our first 2020 update, unless you don't count, as long as you don't count part 4 of the Christmas event, which I don't. Yeah, so I quite like this event. I think it's quite good. Yeah, it's got some really nice stuff to it, but I will say it's kind of framed as a New Year's Eve update or a New Year's Day update when it's 15 days after New Year's, or 14 days after New Year's Day. So it's a little iffy as a New Year's update, but regardless, it's a solid update, and I really enjoyed it. So let's go on and talk about it. We'll first of all talk about the characters, and then I'll kind of give my overall thoughts later on with like a few little. Like talking about certain things. So I'll talk about those kind of negatives and positives and other stuff later on. But for now, let's go look at the price track. So yeah, here is the price track. It is 5 parts, of course, as most mini events, and I really enjoy it. It's a very good price track. I will say that I'm a little bummed out there's only one building, and that's probably my only negative of this entire event, is there's only one building. But it starts off, we get the South Pole, which I think is, well, I'll talk about the decorations after. We get the South Pole, then we get the lofts of Springfield Elementary, the Heathrow teleportation departures, then Ultranet, and the final prize is Jiff and Skippy, also known as Kirk and Picard, as one sort of 2-in-1 character. Simple 3-act structure, of course. One thing I do want to talk about though is the currency. The currency is these, like, I guess, like, sort of, what do you call them? The things you blow for Happy New Year's. Like those kind of whistle things. The party celebration things. I don't know what they're called, but those things anyway. A little tiny touch is they have a little sound effect every time you get them. It's a tiny thing, but I really appreciate that. It kind of made the update feel a lot more cared about. So yeah, that's overall the price track. Nothing really too great to say about it, but obviously it's just the standard sort of prize track, so there's nothing really to say. Next up, we have the characters. So like I said before, we get 3 characters in total, or sort of 4, however you want to look at it, but we get 1 2-in-1 character and 2 kind of single characters on their own. So these are all Simpsons related. I really wish they make a category called Future Simpsons and throw in Zia and Mooch Bart and President Lisa, because now we have 2 interdimensional travelers categories, which is really, really odd. Another little nitpick of mine, but it does annoy me when they do this with these character collections. I don't know why they have to be for the event. Like, why can't they just throw it? They do it sometimes anyway, so I feel like they really should start kind of changing up the character collections. I've ranted about it before. I have a whole video, and I still need to do a video where I fix them. I stole Spring King's video that one time, and I kind of looked at his video, but I really need to do one because, yeah, they really should fix the categories because they are awful at the minute. But yeah, obviously the characters you get here, of course, Jiff and Skippy, who I liked, and then there's retired Homer and Empty Nest Marge. Now, granted, I don't hate these characters that much because I feel like they put a lot of effort into them. They all both have unique voice, and they both have a really fun quest line. So although I hate the fact that these. And I kind of, but like, they're being consistent, so I'm gonna forgive them for it. I'm not gonna kind of deduct points. I like these characters. I think they're fine. I'm sort of warming to the fact that we have a bunch of doppelgangers in Springfield, but it's consistent with the fact that we have a future Marge, we have a future Homer, we have a future Lisa, future Martin, I guess, as well. It's kind of, it is keeping it consistent, as well as, we have young characters. So whatever, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm happy enough. And they both had quite a good quest line, so yeah. And something that's not actually consistent with what they've done in the past is the lofts of Springfield Elementary. Now this is this is what the Springfield Elementary turns into. It's like an apartment complex, and this is where Bart lives for a bit. Now this is a building skin, which I would be fine with if it wasn't for the fact that in the past we got the Simpsons house and the Quickie Mart, and we got other versions of them. Now, the Quickie Mart I can somewhat forgive because you can buy multiple of them anyway, but the Simpsons house really annoys me, and this is not really a fault of this decoration. I just wanted to kind of bring it up. It annoys me that the Simpsons house the future Simpsons house even is a completely another building, whereas this is a decoration. It just annoys me a little bit that they're kind of reversed, or I should say a skin, not a decoration. But regardless, I'm happy enough with it. I'm glad it's a building skin, but it just kind of ruins the consistency now. Is my only issue. But yeah, overall, whatever. I'm not too bothered, but I thought I'd mention it because it does annoy me a tiny bit. And then we have Ultranet. I love this building. It's my favourite building of the year. No. Well, it is technically, but that's by default. Yeah, this building is actually really cool. I was a little iffy of them putting the Ultranet in the game, but after I've seen it, it's huge and it's perfect size. I think it's scaled completely right, and also the animation that it has is really awesome. And I'm glad that they actually took time to actually put it in. I guess my one complaint is maybe it would be kind of cool if like we saw more buildings. Obviously, it's like a kind of 6-in-1 building in some ways. Maybe a few more would be kind of awesome, but I'm not gonna diss it. I still think it's a really cool building. Yeah, I think they've put a lot of care into this building as well. The animations look really cool with all the people flying in and out of the doors. Yeah, it's excellent. I really like it. And then finally we have our decoration showcase. So we got 3 decorations. Where there is the what's it called? Martian Vacation, which I don't think is too amazing. It's pretty mediocre. It would have been fine if it was bigger. Again, this kind of comes down to I want it bigger. Yeah, it's way too small. I mean, the only other thing I can think of it now is it's like a photo booth sort of thing. That's how I'm going to imagine it. Then we have the South Pole, which again should be bigger, and finally the Heathrow teleportation departures. I like this one. I think this one's cool, and I'll just shove it in the airport somewhere probably. But regardless, it's kind of cool to have. So yeah, 1 good decoration and 2 meh, I would say. But I don't think that takes too much away from the update because I think everything else was pretty good. Plus the South Pole was the first prize. It's not like it was the last prize, and the Martian Vacation isn't what you're really buying when you buy the premium stuff. So I sort of forgive both of them. And this is the end poster you get right at the end, obviously. Yeah, so overall I think this update is pretty decent. There's a lot of good stuff in there. One thing I definitely want to mention though is just a few things. The story and structure I thought was very good. Honestly, better than most of last year's mini events. But I really don't understand why they threw Cthulhu in there. Like, it felt so random and weird, and I feel like it's just because they did a recent Cthulhu update, they tried to force him in. I just found that aspect really odd, and I understand how they tried to make it make sense in the story, but regardless, it was just weird. In terms of the, yeah, so that's in terms of the story structure. Obviously, the structure is good because it has a good theme. It's just future stuff. Quests. What I found was really odd is the Ultranet had a 5-part quest thing, which I really liked. And then Jiff and Skippy also have 5 parts. And then with Homer and Marge, they actually had 3 separate quest lines. There's a 1 task for the Martian thing, which is obviously fine, it's a decoration. And then they have a 4-part one for Homer and a 5-part one for Marge. I thought that was really awesome. I'm glad that they took time and actually did that, because it normally when you have a double character with something, they just sort of share the same quest line. But this one they didn't. They actually had their own kind of their own quest line each, which was cool. Yeah, so overall I think very good things. There was just a lot of care in this update, and that's what I really think this probably why this took a while and it wasn't out on New Year's Day, which I think is still a problem. I'm still a little annoyed that this kind of came out a bit later than it should have, because it does feel like a New Year's Eve update or a New Year's Day update, but it really came out late. It is similar thing with the 4th of July thing. I still believe that 4th of July character was meant to be given to us in 4th of July, but they fell behind schedule. Yeah, I think overall this update has a lot of care to it, so I appreciate that. It doesn't feel lazy like a lot of the updates last year did. It just feels like a passion project in a lot of ways. It feels like they put some effort in for a change. And I hope that they do continue this trend, because this was really good, and I hope that they continue this onto major events as well, because I've noticed that mini events tend to have like 5 parts for all the characters, while major events they don't do that because they're focused more on other stuff, obviously adding all the stuff in. And now I'm not sure, I still feel like the Tap team may have shrunk a little bit, because it does feel that way. Obviously, I don't know. I don't have access to anyone who's behind the scenes, but I do get that feel. But overall, I think this update was very good. It's a nice start to the year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, and it's good to see that there's actually updates this year. So we do have 2020 worth of tapped out stuff. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Tell me your thoughts on this update, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.